Stepping from our ordinary world into the fantastical, Immersive XP explores the weird and wonderful imaginations behind a diverse range of themed experiences. From virtual reality to escape rooms to live-action roleplay, nothing is off the table. We'll take a deep dive into what makes these adventures worth attending and which ones to avoid. Join me on a journey to explore the extraordinary and meet the people who make dreams a reality. Hello, everyone. I'm Taylor Ford, your non-binary host based in Southern California. Seamstress by trade, silly little guy by trauma. Favorite color? Aquamarine. This week is a lore lesson where we interview artists in the immersive experience world. This week, we have not one, but two special guests from Squirrel Tavern, located in downtown Los Angeles. First, we have Taylor Frost, event experience designer for Polar Palace Productions, and Carlos Leon, aka Squirrelor. He is the general manager for First Draft, Taproom, and Kitchen. So, Taylor, can I get a little bit, just a small summary about what you do first?
So as like an event experience designer, my main job is to conceptualize and design events and like what the guest experience would be like when they come in. So for Squirrel Tavern, I came up with basically the schedule of like when a guest comes in, like what they're doing throughout the experience, and came up with all the puzzles and like all the I wrote all the story and all the interactive things that the characters are doing with the guests.
And you play a character as well, right?
I do. I'm not here every night, but yeah, when I am here, I also play a character. And so then I took all those ideas and that schedule to Carlos, and I was like, hey, is all this going to work? What things do we need to tweak? And so obviously with like food timings and stuff like that, like we had to tweak some of my general like schedules and ideas to fit with, make sure it's all like realistic and stuff like that. But
yeah, lots of work. And we'll get a little bit more in depth on that in a little bit. And Carlos, can you please give me a short summary of who you are and what you do?
Of course, yes. I'm the general manager of First Draft, Taproom, and Kitchen in downtown Los Angeles. And I manage generally. And I just make sure the place is running smoothly. And in terms of Squirrel Tavern, of course, was just kind of the wedding of the immersive experience and the puzzles and atmosphere that Taylor is referencing to work, more or less seamlessly with the restaurant, with our kitchen, with our staff, with our POS, with our food, our beverage, and make sure that things are running smoothly here and also front of house, because both things are open. So it feels like I'm running two bars at the same time. So,
I mean, you basically are.
Yeah. Especially when it gets busy.
Yeah, exactly.
On both of them at the same time. That's when it gets real tough. But
it's fun.
So we'll talk a little bit more into detail about how that goes. But first, I want to start us off with a little bit of an icebreaker question. I feel like I know the answer to this for at least one of you. What form of media has influenced your sense of humor the most?
Oh. Yeah.
Form of media or like specific?
Well, specific media.
Okay.
Anything.
We might both have the same answer.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, this is for at least one of you. I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the thing that jumps to me, it's definitely cartoons is kind of like where it all started and kind of continued. SpongeBob SquarePants.
I was right.
Has to be the greatest cartoon of all time.
It's like I think it would be hard for me to choose between SpongeBob SquarePants or Scrubs. Like that's where like I was like, oh, probably SpongeBob SquarePants because that was definitely the first one.
Yeah.
And then Scrubs, but like if anything, like Scrubs has a similar humor often to SpongeBob SquarePants,
totally.
and like just with the absurdist, like crazy stuff, but then like sometimes just hit you with the feels real good. And
I feel like that if SpongeBob was live action and then Scrubs was a cartoon, I feel like it'd be almost interchangeable in the type of comedy.
Yeah. Zach Braff would be SpongeBob for sure.
I think SpongeBob fans grew up to be Scrubs fans.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I think we were definitely forged in the fires of SpongeBob, which made us attracted to the humor of Scrubs.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
very, very similar. But SpongeBob did it all, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
I
And
think-
it holds up.
It does
does.
hold up. It
Holds
does hold up. And I know that there's like another movie that just came out too.
Yeah, the Sandy
Another
movie.
one. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
And another show that they're doing.
Yeah.
They're doing like I think 2 other shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so much. It's
Fine.
a little oversaturated.
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean, it's
lying.
the kids nowadays deserve SpongeBob too. That's how
Kids
I look
these
at it. It's
days.
like they don't. That doesn't need to be my SpongeBob, but I'm glad that the kids have a new SpongeBob. That's their SpongeBob, and so
Yeah, I love that SpongeBob because I remember watching the first episode and being just like, "What is this? This is absurd," but I love it. And little did I know that yellow guy in a pineapple under the sea would become Nickelodeon's Mickey Mouse, basically.
Yeah. And bring us together to
And-
go to a SpongeBob rave.
And also it's such a glue for my social interactions. Like nothing gets me better than a well delivered SpongeBob reference. I think that is one of my biggest green flags in people when I hear a really well delivered and accurate SpongeBob reference. I'm just like, oh. Like I'm automatically like gravitationally attracted to that person. I'm like, I need to be in your orbit a little longer. Yeah,
100%.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, I knew it. I had a feeling that was going to be your answer. But yeah,
Yeah.
great icebreaker.
I think we should just honestly turn this into a SpongeBob
yeah. Why don't we just talk
podcast.
about SpongeBob for an hour?
I could. We could talk about all the amazing costumes we saw at the SpongeBob rave for
Yeah, dude.
forever.
I never felt like more seen and just honestly proud of humans than the SpongeBob rave. And seeing just the detail, the references, like the deep cut costume choices, I was like, oh, I'm out of my league here.
Also, for legal reasons, it's called the Bubble Rave now.
Yeah, the big bubble rave.
Yeah.
I'm dying to go back.
Yeah, I
Whenever
want
it
to. I want to
next
go to
time
the
it's
Area
here.
51 one so bad, or
Yeah.
Area 15 is what it's called in Las Vegas because they hosted sometimes there too,
Really?
where a Mega Mart is. Yeah, I would love to go to the Bubble
Dude, that'd be
Rave there.
bonkers.
Biggest trip.
Vegas
Yeah.
trip.
I've been to Vegas so long, and if the reason why I'm going
I've
is
got
for
an
SpongeBob,
Omega
I'm
Mart
Yeah.
annual pass now.
That's awesome.
Wild.
It was so cheap during
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend sales.
That's very cool.
All right, stepping away from SpongeBob now. We'll just take
I
over the
guess.
entire
Reluctantly.
podcast
Yeah,
at this
all right.
point.
So, like, if we must.
So one of the things that I really want to focus on with Immersive XP is passion projects. And I think that this is one of the, Squirrelor's Tavern here is one of the things that I feel like is one of the most passion project heavy experiences.
Yeah.
I've been to Squirrelor's Tavern 2.0. I never got the chance to be at 1.0, but I
Yeah.
would love to hear
Yeah.
about the journey from going from 1.0 to now 3.0.
Amazing. An extremely emotional journey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that now. And being next to Taylor, every time I try to wax poetic about it, I do start crying.
Please don't
As
start crying.
my eyes literally start welling
Think
up
about
right now.
SpongeBob.
I'll start crying.
And just a little bit of a just a nod to that. Yes, this is honestly the most passionate project I think I've ever been a part of. It is so a little bit behind the curtain of just the genesis of Squirrelor's Tavern was us living together, and I was going through a lot of emotional trauma, not really realizing it in the moment, and always had this wanderlust. I don't do well being static or stagnant. I always need to look for new things and go and try new bars all the time. And
you work at a bar now, so
and I do work at a bar, and so I was just hungry for a very specific atmosphere, and thanks to my ADHD superpower, when I get hyperfixated on it, I'm just like, I'm not going to let that go. And I just couldn't find it anywhere. And the closest that I think I was able to ever get is like a good quality Irish pub, like one that is warm, it's cozy, there's a drink, there's a very specific atmosphere that I even like certain things that I reference in terms of, just the tavern atmosphere, like seeing the prancing pony, in Lord of the Rings, and they're just drinking and, dancing on tables, and then going and hearing live music. And so there were all of these pieces that I was like, oh, this place is almost there. This place is almost there. Like that. I love that aspect of it. But I was just looking for something that didn't exist, and it was a fantasy tavern, basically. And with just drink, conversation, immersion, fun. And so I ended up just like transforming my bedroom into a cozy spot to basically force Taylor and Sky to drink with me and hang out with me, because we were also poor, and going out in LA
we were burning a lot of money.
Expensive. It's so expensive. So I was just like, no, we can do something here. And I ended up just spending a whole mess of money transforming my bedroom at first into just like a hangout spot. It started off with like a picnic table thing that I got.
And some cool light, like it's like, well, you had the hue lights, so
yes,
so it's like that's where
love me some hue lights.
We're like, oh, well, we want to have some cool hue lights, and then I think the first thing we did was we played like a horror movie or horror games with the funny lights and like the picnic table bench and stuff.
Did you have a game of choice?
We played, the horror game that we played was Remothered.
We played like 3 or 4 of them, but the Remothered was the one that's like the most memorable.
Yeah, because that was like the biggest art, because it was such a
and it was terrifying.
Because Haunted Hill is the one that I usually would imagine would be good for like a tavern experience, but I don't know Remothered at all.
Well, it wasn't a tavern yet, so that was before it became a tavern.
Right. It's just a hangout.
Right, it was just a hangout spot, and we're just like, let's gather. And then we played Catan.
Yes,
and I was like, this is the vibe. I set up like candles, set up like ambiance on like the screens. Of course, had Concerning Hobbits playing.
Yes,
and I was like, this is what I'm hunting for.
We made a little video.
Yeah,
and like the video, I think the video was the like, wait, hold on.
Yeah,
we like Carlos like, I need to do this, and everybody,
because I remember like posting it. Everyone was just like, I crave that. They were like, that's what I'm looking for, and I'm just like, you're right. And then I was like, but I can do better. I can go bigger. I was looking up sconces and like
sconces ain't cheap.
Chandeliers and stuff.
And like big, like photo shoot backdrop things, like graphics, and just taping those to the wall, and a cover for a vinyl for the benches to make it look wood.
Yeah, well, I think it was like. Well, that was when we started iterating on it. But like at first it was like, I think it was like a $250 in your Amazon cart. And it was like, like also at that point in our lives, $250 was a big deal. It still is. But like even more of a big deal then. And so it was like, just like, I was like, should I do this?
I remember being in my bedroom with this like wacky Amazon cart. And I think it might've been like the next day or so.
Yeah, it was very
after that Catan experience. And I'm just like, I just need to make this better, bigger, more immersive. And Sky just walks in, sees me disgruntled in my computer chair looking at this Amazon cart. And I'm just like, am I crazy to do this, to buy this? And Sky's like, no.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Did it. And slowly but surely, Squirrel's Tavern grew. And it just... But piece by piece, like day by day, I created a playlist of specific music that started off with a fanfare that I would play throughout the entire house, letting people know that the tavern was open.
Right.
And it's literally called the Fanfare of Friendship. And it's just iconic. An iconic sound. It's the first song on the playlist. So I play that. Exactly. I think it's literally how it sounds. And then the experience would just begin, and people, Taylor and Sky would come dressed up, and I mean, at first, maybe even like not dressed up. I don't even remember.
No, we were dressed up like
I mean, I've
Anyone?
seen both of your costumes like now. What were the costumes like then?
Oh, they were less
Oh yeah,
good.
yeah,
but-
they're like earth tone shirt.
yeah, with like a vest.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's it. That's exactly it. It was like
Yeah.
an earth tone shirt and a vest.
Yeah, I mean, we had been to Ren Fair at that point, so it's like we had Ren Fair costumes,
Yeah.
but like yeah, and like occasionally we would do low effort tavern nights where we were just like we just want to hang out and we don't want to get dressed, so we would still do a tavern night, but we wouldn't like
Yeah.
put
No
on
reason
full
to ruin
costumes.
friendships over Catan in nice clothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, right, and then so then from there like it became like, oh well, we could fit max. I think our max capacity was 8, but like
Yeah.
we would like 6 was the sweet spot.
Of
So
course.
it would
Yeah,
be
6
like
to 9. is
yeah. So it
definitely
would
a
be
sweet
like
spot.
3 or 4 of us, and then we would invite 2 or 3 friends to come over and then we would all just like they would come over, and then we would go upstairs and go into Carlos's bedroom and like just
beeline it. They'd have to wait,
yeah.
and then
I need to
we would
be
always
ready.
be like, no, you'll know when the tavern's open.
You'll
Yeah.
hear
And
the
a lot
sounds.
of people didn't know.
Yeah, they would hear
Yeah.
a sound. They'd be like, "Well, what is that?
Was that
What
it?
does that fanfare mean?" And we were like, "Well, obviously that means go ahead, it's starting. Come on."
Yeah. Yeah, that sound didn't play on accident. Like, it's open. Tavern's open. Yeah, so the fanfare would start, and then people will just be allowed to come in, right? Like, the
Yeah.
doors closed. I had a sconce right at the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at first being like, oh, if that light is on, the tavern's open. So just,
Yeah.
like, come in and hang out with me. But, yeah.
And we're talking about like to like paint a picture. It's like the rooms are like pretty big at the house, but like the section of Carlos's room that we were in was maybe like 8 feet by 10 feet,
Yep.
and a lot of it was taken up by the table because
Yep.
it was like a picnic bench style table, and that we would cram like 6 to 9 people around this table, and
100%.
And yeah, it was like some. So this was like early iteration of it. So it was like a fabric backdrop on one side, a fabric backdrop on his bed to like kind of disguise his bed, and then the TV had a tavern ambiance video with music and stuff.
And fabric backdrop is very, very generous. It was like plastic.
Yeah, it was like plasticky. It was like a
plastic-
printed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cheap. But it hit.
Oh, yeah, it was
hit
great.
so good.
It was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember once it got to a point where I was like, okay. I mean, it was never enough, of course.
Right. We always were adding little details.
Always
and
adding
stuff.
little details. But once it got to a certain point that the formula like hit and it looked just awesome in pictures,
Yeah.
then Squirrel's Tavern just became the spot.
Yeah.
Like, we would just hang out. We would all the time. And the beautiful thing about Squirrel's Tavern that
At
I
least
think
once a week we were
at
in there.
least we do a tavern night. And my favorite thing about it is that like it was rare that we would bring out a game. Like, it was rare that we would watch anything.
Yeah.
Squirrel's Tavern really became just the like social hall. We would sit and we would drink and we would talk all night,
Yeah.
like to the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
And it just became so fun, so beautiful for like our friendship, just our conversation, our connection. That's when I really feel like we got close, again. Like, it was
Yeah, I mean, like close. It's hard to believe that we could get closer, and but like 100% we did.
yeah.
because
And I
of
was
it.
like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Well, because first of all, we're gamers,
Yeah, right.
and like we'll game. We're pretty content with spending many hours at the computer,
Right.
and like gaming and doing things. And this was just a really great way for us to, on a budget, feel like we're going out and like drinking and gathering, and it was just so damn fun.
Yeah.
And it became so many different things. I remember trying different themes. Like, we had a Harry Potter themed night.
Yeah. We did
Cut that.
Yeah.
Cut that.
A long time ago.
We had a speakeasy
Cut that.
night, we had like a 1940s speakeasy night.
The speakeasy night was super great. That was so fun. And basically, the speakeasy night started from doing like a tavern night with little effort.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I don't want to say the tavern's open, but I might know a place. Wink, wink. And I'm just like, don't tell anybody. Wink, wink. I got some juice upstairs. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, we should hang out, but I just didn't want to go whole hog. And inevitably, it just kind of became a meme.
Yeah.
That it inevitably still got out of hand and way too in theme for the speakeasy night. Like I remember it just started off with just like, no, let's just go and we'll hang out.
Well, and
then it ended up with just us being in suits.
What was it? And there was
In a
one night there was a
bathtub.
joke of like, you told me to dress up in a certain way. It was like, and then like I took what you said and I just like I wore something completely different. And then like,
Did you have a zoot suit or what?
no, that's what I'm forgetting what it was. It was like, oh gosh, it was like it was another themed night, and I just wore something like that was I took it was a play on words.
Sure.
So I wore something like completely different.
Yeah.
And like,
I feel like I know exactly what you're talking about, but I do not remember
and
what
so like I opened the door and Sky and Carlos are in a theme together, and I walked in like completely out of theme. Was it when I showed up in the police officer outfit? What was that for?
No, that was
What kind of police officer?
I forget why the police because that was for a speakeasy night.
That was for a speaking,
Because
right?
Sky came in, I think, like trying to sell me booze or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I like
he
busted
came in
it.
and busted it. Yeah. Trying to like sell me booze.
So it wasn't that one,
Yeah, because
but
they were
it was a
dressed up
different
as
outfit. Anyway, we
I know
just
that became like another thing you did in like later versions of the tavern.
yes. Yeah.
but
with speakeasy stuff.
Yeah, we did a keg killer 1920s theme for in Tavern 2.0. But Carlos was
Crazy
playing the
fun.
inspector. And
Yes.
Carlos played like 3 characers, and
just
Just a
most
stereotypical
fun.
murder
Yeah.
mystery night.
but so 1.0, you know, we basically like grew to love it, and like it became a way of like connecting with our friends and bringing our friends in just for like intimate, like deep conversations and like long conversations long into the night. So it became even a better hangout than like going out to a bar.
Yeah.
And cheaper. But the
Yep.
or like, oh, you know, friends hanging out for a movie like this, we would just talk for like 6 hours with whoever was there. And
Easy.
so then we during the pandemic we moved to
Yeah.
a house.
Before we get to 2.0,
Yeah.
I still don't know about the lore why you chose the name Squirrelors.
So great question. Squirrelor is a long time nickname. It's my gamer tag. Back in middle school, me and my friends were basically like, oh, we need nicknames. Right? It's just one of those things where like, oh, we don't have like nicknames for each other. We should have nicknames. And then me and my best friend at the time, Patrick, we were really
Star?
Patrick Starr, exactly. We were into the movie Biodome, like really into it in like middle school. And their nicknames were Squirrel and Stub. And I was just like, I like that. I was like, I want to be Squirrel. I was like, because I was like, squirrels are great. They're just very, very good animals. And I was just like, and I just like the nickname. It fit. You know, there are a lot of people from my past who will still reference me as Squirrel. And one day in I think like middle school, it was middle school or high school, I forget, but we were playing Baldur's Gate and like creating characters. And then we were taking our current nicknames and slightly changing them to sound a little more fantastical for our character creation. And then Squirrel became Squirrelor, and it just stuck. There was something about it. I don't know, the way it looks. I don't know, the way it sounds. I just really, really loved it, and it just became my new nickname. It became like all of my character creation names because I'm like, oh, it's the fantasy version of me. And
even when I met you in 2009, that was you had already, I knew that was like your like gamer tag and nickname and stuff. And,
everywhere, yeah.
That was a long time before the tavern showed up.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just kind of been my, my second name, just like, my chosen name. And And, goes without saying that this would definitely be Squirrelor's Tavern.
Yeah.
When I started creating it.
Your dream was like to open and run like a tavern or bar, and like I think once the tavern got made and you called Squirrelor's Tavern, like that was your first like, oh wow, no, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And like so
Yeah, completely changed the course of my life. Getting that hunger and then doing it and creating this thing that was so well received and so much damn fun for me, for my friends. I loved hosting. I loved being a host. I also loved drinking. So
Shocker.
yeah, and it just went hand in hand. And also I love playing. I'm a performer at heart. And BFA theater performance, baby. And so this was just kind of fitting both, like all of my worlds in one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The host in me, the performer in me, the drunk in me, and in this this world that just felt so needed, right? And so needed and wanted, because even in like 1.0, I met so many new people because of that. I remember you inviting just, your LARP friends and things that I just like couldn't, I couldn't go to LARP. I was a wedding DJ at the time, so
Yes.
every single weekend was consumed.
Like up until not that long ago, too, you were a wedding DJ.
Oh yeah, like
Kept being like, are you going to be a first draft? And
think
you're
it-
like,
like
no,
almost
I'm
2 years ago now,
DJing.
Well, I've been working here for a year and change, but I was still DJing weddings when I started here.
Got it.
Yeah.
I quit when I got promoted
Got it. Right.
to being a manager.
Yeah, because you started working here at First Draft February of last year, correct?
No, it
No,
was
it was like December of
it was
2022.
like no, it was April.
Yeah, so it was like
it was
spring of
mid-year.
something,
It was
and
like
then you
April
was that 20? Okay.
2023.
Because I remember being like,
It was last
"Hey, are
year.
you coming? Are you going to be
Okay.
at First Draft this Friday?" And you're like, "No, I'm literally performing my last wedding DJ
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah, so it was April. I mean, I remember because in March I went to Japan.
Yeah.
And it was, and I remember getting my interview here. And I guess this can be a tangent of just how I even got the job here. Like with the impetus to
Right.
run a bar from that little spark of Squirrelor's Tavern, I'm like, oh, I definitely want to make this a reality, but I have no experience at all. I was like, I have no experience, and I was like, I desperately wanted a job at a bar, specifically a beer bar, because that's where my passion really lied. And I just didn't really have any interest in making cocktails or anything. I was just like, I want to serve and like I want to talk beer. And nowhere gave me the time of day. Nobody even looked at me. I mean, my resume had nothing to do with anything in the food and beverage industry. And I found a posting on, I think it was Craigslist.
Yeah.
For this place. So I called and someone picked up and I was like, hey, I just saw this. And I was like, there was no email on there for me to shoot my resume in, but I'd love to do that and talk to you guys. I'd love to meet you. And because the second you meet me, you know that nobody's going to care more than I do.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to find anybody who is going to care about this entry level position more than me. Because
Even when I walk in here, like at First Draft, I'm like, Carlos, what's good?
Yeah.
And you just like rattle off everything new, and I'm just like, how do you remember all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I hand pick everything now, and like so, I came in and met Pierce, who is the regional manager.
Yeah.
Incredible guy. Met me and could tell that there was a fire under my ass, and I'm like, I'm here to prove to myself that this is where I want to be, that this is what I want to do, and honestly, it was a trial. It was something that I was going to be honest with myself and be like, hey, if I do this and I hate it, then that's going to be an important thing to know, right? Is this industry something that I want to now devote my life to? And yeah, I got in knew nothing, busted my ass, and now I'm the general manager of the spot.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm just like, I have been here, you know, more or less alone. You know, caring as much as I do, like trying to make this place my own, and a bar that I would love to frequent and be proud of, right? Because that's why I'm here, you know, to get that experience, and it's been amazing. I've definitely lost years of my life from the stress of it all, and how much I've been working and losing sleep, really caring about this place. But it's been priceless experience. It's been just thinking about it and thinking about them giving me this chance, right? Giving me this opportunity to really prove myself and show that, like, hey, I don't know everything. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to care, and I'm going to put the time in. And that's like,
and like being open to learning, and I think like that's a huge part about like you is like you're caring, and you're also wanting to learn, and you're hungry to like try to do as good of a job as you can.
Yeah.
It's like, and they I think they can see that.
Yeah. And it's just this, just test for myself that I'm like, I want to do this. I want to open up my own bar. Now my dream is like multiple bars, multiple different kinds of bars.
We're getting too ahead of
I know,
ourselves.
we're
We
getting
still
too
got to
ahead.
go back to 2.0.
Exactly. But that's basically my journey of why I'm here.
Yeah.
And, but it's great. And I love it.
But yeah, if we're going to go back to 2.0, then so like we've talked a lot about 1.0, and then during the pandemic we needed to move because of some unfortunate living situations and with our previous landlord, and
Basically
then,
selling of our spot.
Yeah. And well, it was like they wanted to sell it, but they were just trying to like shadow push us out. And so then eventually we were just like, screw this, we're just going to leave. And so then we ended up deciding to like buy a house, and you know, one of the house that we were mainly looking at, there was like an extra room that we could have turned into like an office or a den or something. But we came to Carlos and we were like, hey, so I think that like I know that the tavern existed in your bedroom before, and I don't want you to lose like, you know, your autonomy, or like I still would want it to be Squirrel's Tavern, but like what if we turned like this extra room into Squirrel's Tavern? It could be a little bit bigger, and we can like work on it together and like really like elevate it. And you know, and we did, and it was like, and there was an intense amount of work from like basically all of us that lived in the house at the time. Like all of us pitched in different ways, and it was that was like a big labor of love, and and then from there we were able to fit like basically what we said was like our sweet spot was earlier, like on the first in Tavern 1.0 it was like 6 people. For Tavern 2.0 the sweet spot was like 10 people, like 8 to 10 people, and then but we could fit up to, I think the most we ever fit in was 14. That one was still a little too crowded, but 12 was still like 12 was still good. But the sweet spot
as
was
long
8
as someone's
to 10
like
people.
behind the bar, it's a little bit easier to navigate too.
Sure.
But so you know, we were able to fit even more people, and then for a solid year, like I mean, we literally had like I had a Google document. I had 2 like spreadsheets. One was the schedule, and then the second one was who was on the list to get on the schedule. And it was like, okay, this group is gone. Let's go to the next group. Let's find out what day they can fit in. Oh, okay, well, they can't fit in the next 2 weeks. Go to the next person. Can they fit in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And just working our way through that list. And for a solid year, it was like once a week, like getting people in. And it was like, I mean, that was also a really great time.
When were the Scoins implemented?
Oh, that was 1.0. Yeah.
1.0.
That was like that was part of the thing that we worked together on, is after he made 1.0, we had to figure out like, okay, well, like, you know, the first one or two times Carlos like just like kind of provided the beer, and then I was like, even though this is cheaper than a bar, it's still not like that sustainable for you just to like provide beer to everybody who comes into the tavern. And so like then I was like, let's come up with a system, and I like pitched the system to Carlos, and I was like, we can basically just have little tokens, and like basically there'll be drink tokens, and if I donate a 6-pack, I get 6 drink tokens, and I get 6 drinks of whatever, and that way like I can keep track of how much I've donated to the tavern and how much drinks I can get out of it.
All
and
that
so,
equivalent exchange.
yeah, and so it's like,
1-to-1.
so if Carlos like plows through a bunch of beer by himself, then he knows like, oh crap, I gotta restock it.
Exactly,
And,
exactly.
But then you're the one who came up with the term Scoins.
Yeah.
And I think I found the wooden coins, and I was like, here, we'll just use these, and then you got the stamp to stamp them, and so then they
You got a little
Yeah,
squirrel
I have
stamp.
a little bag in my purse literally right now that of like all my Scoins.
The
Like,
original Scoin.
I
The
still have
original
so many
Scoins.
that I haven't traded in yet.
They're very special. I mean,
Yeah.
I think of them fondly, and whenever I see it, I'm just like, oh man, it just reminds me of just all those times and how just fun it was.
Yeah.
Because that was definitely something I did early, was because I didn't want to give anybody an excuse to not come to the tavern. I'm just like, no, I have the drinks.
right.
You drink I'm gonna give you the drinks. You can't say no. This is not about money. It's about your time. Come spend time with me, drink my drinks, sit with me.
But so
It worked. I got him in. Got him hooked.
and
First
so,
one's free.
And so like as we brought more and more people, like we kept like a ledger, like to like, so just in case people didn't want to keep track of their coins, they could be like, oh, we'd write down, okay, you done
Yeah, you
your
got
4
a tab
drinks, and like
everything.
and so the then 2.0, we escalated it. We got like a keg. We had like an extra
kegerator.
mini fridge that we had more beer in. We had lots of like, there's so much liquor in Tavern 2.0.
To kill us 20 times easily.
Yeah.
And
easily.
even before I was friends with either of you, like I remember seeing pictures of like 2.0 before, like even before, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nerds.
2.0, just to throw some glaze at Taylor. I mean, the exponential elevation, because and maybe that we can get some of your background now, of why 2.0 it was so elevated and just
'cause
immersive.
Taylor built so much stuff for 2.0, and I mean, but
So tell us about you and your background and why you're so good at making things look good.
Well, yeah, I mean I definitely like helped with some stuff in 1.0, but it was still like your baby. So it's like meaning me like helping you, like giving a little bit of like, the vinyl on the tables. Like I was like, here, let me help you with this. And like
A bubbly
like,
mess.
I was like,
it was just me.
because you were like, oh, I want this to look better. And I was like, well, we could put vinyl on it. And then you started trying to do it yourself. And I was like, oh, let me help you. And
I'm like, thanks.
and like some of like we had a couple of like brick panels that I had from like work. So my main background and where I got started as a designer is I've been doing like set building. I've been doing set building since I was a kid, but like basically in 2013 I got started in doing like production design and art department stuff for film, and so I have like a ton of design and art department building experience and stuff. And so by the time we did 2.0 in 2021, I had almost 10 years of experience like leading art teams and doing design stuff. So like Carlos and I had many conversations about like the vibe that we wanted and like collaborating there. And it was funny. There was the thing that I was describing a lot of times. Carlos was a little worried for a bit about the bricks.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually, and I was like, no, just you got to trust the process. And then eventually, the way it showed up, I collaborated with my my ex at the time to like figure out how to do the walls and the bricks and stuff. And like we did a bunch of like test paint swatches and stuff. And then, but like the process to do that is like, do it in layers. And then Carlos would come in and be like, I don't want this to feel like a dungeon or like a prison.
Yeah.
And so
Like I don't want it to feel the last thing I wanted was any like cool tones.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything
And
cold that I'm just like, oh.
Me looking at the cool toad wall from here.
there's one, but with the light.
Lighting
So
matters.
All about the lighting.
So then by the time it was finished, he was like, "Oh, I remember at one point you were like, I should have trusted you." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know that I'm good at this." So
Yeah, exactly.
I hand built like most of the furniture in the tavern.
Yeah.
2.0.
I love that table. Good table.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sturdy.
Even it keeps you from knocking your head into the chandelier most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time, not all the time.
the antelier.
But so then so I guess like the escalation from 2.0 to now, which is part of my backstory, is like in 2020 and 2021 ish. I think anybody in the film industry would know that like the film industry of the last like 4 years has like been really rough in Los Angeles, and like there's been strikes like with the pandemic. Stuff barely got started up after the pandemic, like lockdowns and stuff, and then there was this huge strike that lasted a really long time, and then stuff got like was really slow after that, and then there was another strike, and so like we're like, so I mean it's been rough. So I kind of started switching into like the more like live event production and design in 2021, and I've been doing like a lot of like esports events and other things, and I was the like I was the main space designer for Summer Game Fest 2023, and I did one of the spaces for Summer Game Fest in 2022, and got a lot of like event design experience through that. And then I worked with my business partner Alicia on Summer Game Fest 2023, and then while we were doing that, we were like, we should work together more on something like this, and we should like what if we did like a full event, like immersive event type thing, the two of us, and we can manage the event and everything. And so from there we had a few meetings, like trying to brainstorm the type of thing that we want to do, the types of events that we are open to doing. Like, do we just want to do like regular parties or regular, like, I'm going to say quote unquote regular events, or do we both were like, no, we want to go more into themed, heavily produced events. One a big inspiration for me was when Arcane came out in 2020.
Arcane was so good.
Yeah, and so 2021, the Arcane experience that fall was like
unreal,
like blew my mind. It was insane. I was like, if I could do this, like that would be my dream job. If I could just like do big, like immersive, high production events like that.
If they bring out a new season and don't release another experience, I'll be so sad.
Yeah,
that experience was. I think about it.
Yeah,
I think about it all the time.
And I mean, like even for basically then we decided that's the kind of thing we want to do, and then we had a list of like 9 different things of like what we wanted to do and like what we could do, and then we started being like, okay, well, what would it take to do each of these? And then like we were shopping around a bunch of spaces. And then I had been to this bar a few times, and then one time that I came to see Carlos at the bar and hang out, and I was like, hey, so I want to run something by you. And I was like, me and Alicia are talking about doing like an immersive experience thing, and like one of the things on our list is like doing like a medieval tavern experience. And like I pitched to Alicia, like, what if we brought you on board and did like Squirrelor's Tavern? And so then we talked about doing it here, and then we even said like in that meeting, like if we can't make it happen here, we could do it somewhere else, and then still have you involved. And like, because like no matter what, at that point, I wanted you involved if I was going to do a medieval tavern, and it would just we had like 3 different versions of how it might exist, but this was the best version of it. And so then me, Carlos, and Alicia worked together for a few months, like probably 3 months, getting like all the details worked out, getting a pitch. And I did like a full design render of the space, and we had a whole pitch deck. And then like we, like I said, like me and Alicia worked with Carlos to like get it to where we think it was in a good spot to pitch it to the owner, Mark. and we sat down with Mark and walked him through the whole pitch deck. And I think the amount of preparation really showed in the meeting. And like,
for sure.
basically, like any question that he had, like we had an answer to already. And like when people ask me, like, how did I pitch it? How did I get to the point where we got somebody to agree to do this with us? I was like, to be honest, like, I think a huge part of it was how prepared we were. Like we came into the pitch meeting having an answer for everything. And and so at that point, even if it wasn't an answer he liked, or if he wanted something changed, he felt we were like really invested and prepared. And like, he was getting into people who like had a good idea of what they wanted to do and how it was going to work. Not people who were just like, well, what if we like, so many people, especially in Hollywood, like have like, oh, what if we did this crazy idea, but they don't think through all the steps to make it happen. And like, it was very obvious that like we had put in a lot of work to make it a realistic goal and thing we could do, not just some crazy idea that people were coming in.
I think that's like huge advice for people who are wanting to do immersive experiences in general. Yeah. Especially having, it's like, hey, not just this is the only way that it can go, but also just like, hey, if this isn't going to work, have a plan A, plan B, plan C, etc.
Yeah. And it was honestly an incredible crucible going the creation of this. And just learning and thinking things through, and it's still baffling to me, I think, how quickly, even though it feels like it was like a really long time, it was. I remember the opening night of it, like where we did everything, and I was like, oh, because with Taylor and Alicia, building this beautiful thing, I had to make sure that the basically the function, the POS, the food and beverage, the communication, because we're on the second floor, like the timing of everything. There was a lot of learning to walk while we're running. And it's honestly such a blur. I remember I definitely was losing a lot of sleep getting this up and running to a place where I feel now I'm just like, it's smooth. I think it's so smooth. I think it's just lovely. It's so great. But in those early stages, and Mark like really lending his trust for this dream and this experience, because when you came to me and you're like, oh, like Squirrel Tavern already has like an IP, and with 2.0 I started a little TikTok and garnered a little bit of a following, and I'm just like, when you came to me, I'm just like, yeah, let's do Squirrel Tavern somewhere. Like, I'll quit. Like, I'll quit this job. I don't care. Let's go do that.
So, just in case Mark hears this, what he actually said was
for legal reasons.
No, what he actually said was, "Oh yeah, I can just do that on my days off," because I had even said at that point, like, we would only do it like a couple days a week
for sure.
And I was like, so it could be something that you're doing both. And more
a little, I'm definitely being hyperbolic. I could not afford to quit.
It was hyperbolic for comedic effect, but
but definitely this was the best case scenario that I could be so involved and able to really curate with communication of like my kitchen with the beverage, which is a huge passion of mine, of course, making sure that the selection here is high quality and curated, handpicked.
Almost no matter where else or how else we did it, even if we had some sort of food and drink option or offering, it would not have been nearly as good. And so like the doing it here allowed us to really elevate the experience like a lot. And so like, and just it's a big, like we actually have a much bigger space than we would have had if we had done it somewhere else. And like,
for sure.
Because from like 1.0 to now a 3.0, it's like 6 people to 14 max, and now you can have like 26 max.
25 is our
25,
max.
and then plus staff.
Yeah, right. Plus staff. Yeah. So I guess like, because in the other numbers, we were including ourselves.
100%.
So I guess like if we're going by the same metric, then really it's like a 29 to 30 person max, because when we have 25 people in here, we have 4 staff members. So and sometimes 5 if I show up. So
It's like
You
it's
just kicked out the door. Here I
I kind
am.
of just show up a lot because I like being here, and I sometimes just text Carlos on the way, hey, I'm coming into tavern tonight, and like
I'm like, good.
yeah, and I help whenever
Beautiful.
I'm here,
Of
but
course.
like
Great to see you.
sometimes I feel like if we are at max capacity, there's been a couple times where I've been like, hey, I'm just crowding the space, I'll get out of here now, but it's been good seeing you and good seeing everybody, but
Yeah.
I'd love to continue with what people are going to expect from coming to Squirrelor's Tavern for their first time.
So the experience at Squirrel's Tavern is a huge thing that I really put an emphasis on, is that I wanted it to feel like a place that's for anybody, no matter like kind of what they're looking for from their night. And so like obviously a big part of the experience is we have puzzles, and we have like stories that you can really dig your teeth into, and like it starts with like on the menu, and you solve a puzzle on the menu, and then it takes you down this whole line of puzzles and story that you can solve, and but not everybody is looking for like that kind of a game from their experience. Like so many people are just really excited to come in and like experience the atmosphere and the social interaction of a tavern, and like I love that, and like I love that like we are basically it fits perfectly for both. Like so many people come in and then they are just hanging out, talking, chatting. They maybe do like one puzzle, but then really they're just really getting into the socialization of it. And like then at the end of the night, somebody else has done all of the puzzles, and they're like, wait, what? I missed all of that. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, but
No.
like you, and like, they're like, I just had such an amazing time, and I didn't even realize that was it's not that they didn't realize that it was a thing they could do, because we're pretty explicit on like, if you want to do puzzles, this is where you like, by the end of it, they'll be like, okay, well, like next time I'm definitely gonna do the puzzles, because I just had such a good time socializing this time. I didn't even want to do the puzzles. And
Yeah, exactly. You can get lost in your own preference, really. I know for me, if I were to come in and experience Squirrel's Tavern, I'm just a sucker for atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would definitely be lost in the atmosphere.
yeah,
and do some of the exploring and things. I'm kind of just trying to be honest with myself of like, would I really dive into kind of like the puzzles and things, or would I just want to be in character and socializing and
that's the
drinking?
funniest
That's
It's-
me.
yeah. It's the funniest, the interesting thing about you and I is like, I actually think you and I would both come to this, and we would probably come to it together, and we would fucking love it.
100%.
But like, I would be doing all the puzzles, and you would be chatting, or you might be like hanging out with me while I'm doing the puzzles, but like you would be so chatting with meeting new people and all this other stuff. And I would do that once I finish the puzzles, but I would be really excited to finish the puzzles and read the story and
You're
stuff.
like, oh, this first,
Yeah.
and then that.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who are you?
Yeah, and then you would just ask me about it later, and
Totally.
and I know like you love, like Taylor, you love like role play and stuff, and so like, and I know you've obviously been here multiple times, but you really get into the role play of it, and like when I did the training for our actors, I put a big emphasis on trying to give the guest the experience that they're looking for, and because like there are people who actually just want to like meet you and talk to you and like just like kind of hang out and be like a regular bar. We're just in a really cool space, and it's like, okay, do that, you can like be kind of in character, like make jokes in character, try to like be in character as much as you can. But if they're really just like, well, hey, so how did you start working here? Like I want to talk to you, I want to meet you. Then like, yeah, okay, you can drop character a little bit and like talk to them. But like,
Yeah.
you know, like if a person is looking, they don't want to do the puzzles, but they just really want to like role play with somebody. Okay, then you need to make sure to like come back to that person a lot and like role play with them.
Yep.
And if somebody's like really focused on the puzzles, like come over and interact with them and like give them a taste of like okay, you can RP, we can role play together. Maybe give them some hints, but encourage them on the puzzles and like give them hints if they need them or if they're asking for them. But like, you know, kind of I put a big emphasis on trying to identify the type of experience that the guest is looking for. Like,
Yeah.
if they're just wanting to sit at their table and like watch other people, maybe occasionally you come over and check on them and like have a little bit of a conversation with them, but like, you know, like somehow figure out a way to add to the experience the guest is looking for in some way, whether it's the puzzles, whether it's just people watching, whether it's playing a board game. Like we have board games in here, and like
And costumes.
yeah,
costume.
yeah, right.
Exactly. Oh yeah, we have people that come through that don't dress up, and they find something, they throw something on, and then they
Yeah.
have the time of their lives.
We have a
It's
whole
like-
wardrobe full of like loner costumes that like because like yeah, we knew that there was gonna be a lot of like people that don't frequent as many costume events as we do, and like
We go to so many.
yeah, and so like and or even if just somebody's like visiting from out of town, like they might not have a wardrobe like you know, costumes to choose from, and so
Yeah,
we
I
have-
remember that happening at the marketing event a little bit too,
Yeah.
because we had people that were, you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
big names in the TTRPG community, but they're like, I just got here from such and such
yeah, exactly.
state.
Yeah. Like I met KP that
Yeah,
night,
KP,
and
yeah.
he was like, I was like, obviously you would have costumes,
Yeah.
but like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
visiting from out of state, and so like you know like. So we have tons of loner costumes that people can throw over their regular outfits that help like make them feel at home here in the tavern. And so yeah,
Yeah, honestly, the one thing that I think the way that I phrase it is that, you know, they're stepping into our world when they come in here, but in terms of like a host and like a performer, we're more or less stepping into their world, right? Because you know, I see, you know, I'm here about 99% of the
Yeah,
time
right.
for Squirrel Tavern, so I've seen everything. I've seen everything from someone literally sitting and you know, either being introverted and maybe like coming off cold. They're not really here to socialize, and I'm just like, cool, great, and still at the end they're like, oh, I had an amazing time.
Yeah.
And then
Aw.
people that are lost in a puzzle, doing one puzzle the entire night or something,
Yeah.
just like, I finally got it. This was so
Yeah.
satisfying.
Right.
Or people that are literally like, hey, I brought my instrument, can I play something? And
Yeah.
you know, that want to perform and be. And so it really is the night is this like mutual conversation, and with all of these random energies coming in, because all those three people I described can be there on one night,
Yeah.
right? That they can be there all at the same
Yeah.
time.
And I feel
And-
that's very on point with how fantasy genres are. It's like, hey, these people are coming from anywhere
Yep.
around this, you know, fantasy world, and
For
now
sure.
we're here at this tavern. What energy are they going to bring to this
Yeah.
experience?
And it's just a different story every night, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It is a different experience every night,
Yeah.
because they bring so much to the table, the guests, and we are just here ready to meet them wherever they want to be, and it's
Right.
just awesome. It's
Yeah.
so fun.
I mean, how we market it and it's on like the website and everything is it's a choose your own adventure experience.
Yep.
It's like if you're looking for escape room style puzzles and cool like lore and story, like we have that. If you're looking for a social atmosphere, we have that. If you're looking to like just people watch and like we have a lot of little physical puzzles at the tables and stuff, and like a lot of people just want to like sit at their table, watch and like experience the whole thing, but then they're just doing a physical puzzle at their table, and they love the experience because it gives them something to do while they're watching and experiencing the event. And it's
and it's fun, and it's like, it's also, you know, 3-course meal,
Yeah.
with a good amount of choices. You get 2 drinks,
oh yeah, the menu is
and
incredible.
It's
There-
very good.
and that's just another point of like conversation and fun, is all of these really unique beverages, and
Right.
like, and I wouldn't say too unique of food. I mean, there are like so many really, really delicious things, but I'm like, mainly because, you know, I picked all the beverages that I'm being
Yeah.
a little biased.
Well, do you
and
want to talk about a little bit about the people involved in
course.
the menu and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, my
yeah.
executive chef, Zinai, is just amazing. She's
Yeah.
just so good. Runs a tight ship down there in the kitchen, and is
should
just
eat the food now.
amazing. we brought some food as well. But really, really great, really malleable. Was able to kind of meet me where we're
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what the style we're looking for. What can we get that is, you know, similar and, you know, good quality, and using, you know, from our normal menu as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is just really, really lovely. It's really great that we're able to provide like these. I was making sure that I'm like, okay, I need something vegan and gluten free in every single category for appetizer, entree, dessert, to make sure that everybody has something, but like great quality so they can leave satisfied, right?
And my third time coming here, I ended up doing a buyout so that, you know, a lot of my guests were here that I knew and loved and would have an amazing time. And it was so easy for me to pick menu options that I knew that even though I didn't know the specifics of every single guest and what their dietary restrictions were, I knew that I would be able to pick things that people could enjoy no matter what.
Yeah. And also, like, I feel like we try so hard to be really accommodating to the guests too. Like, if a guest shows up and they're like, "Oh, actually, I have this really niche, unique allergy, or I can't eat this," like, there has never been a time where we were like, that sucks. You know, it's like we have every time we've been able to figure something out, and like because there's a lot of options in the kitchen, and like Z and her team are like really helpful, and like I think it's been 2 different times where like somebody just like actually couldn't eat anything on the menu, and we figured something out for them. And I think one of them was at a regular seating, and one of them was at a party, and instead of forcing them to eat one of the 6 options from the buffet for the buyout, like we got them something off the regular menu that they could eat. And then the other time was like, okay, well, Z was able to come up with something that the guest was able to eat. And so
just really, really, really wonderful team, in the kitchen, and just us working all symbiotically to make sure that everybody is satisfied. Because we do say it's not a cheap ticket, right? And and we just one of the biggest things that we said, coming to the table, to make sure that it's a small, intimate space, right? And we have a lot of staff, and to make it work, and to make sure that people are at least breaking even. The ticket price is a little scary. The sticker shock is a little scary. So we're just like, we need to focus on making this worth it. That's why we are a 3-course meal.
And we had there was a lot of discussions and iterations on the menu to get it to a place where we have liked it. But I would say the really positive thing about the experience of getting the menu to where we were happy with it was that, like, there was I forget the idiom, but like there were so many options that were so good to choose from that, like, I was like, here's a list of all the things that I would be happy with that are on the menu. Like, all of these are amazing options. Like, Z, just pick which ones that you think you want to be on the menu, and there was like a couple ones that I was like, this has to be on the menu.
The bread pudding needs to be on the menu.
The pretzels were the biggest one.
The pretzels are so good.
It was funny because like
I'm eyeing the pretzels right now.
Gently requesting the pretzels at first, and I was like, okay, but like we could put the pretzels on the menu. And then I think the last part of the conversation, I was like, okay, guys, I think I need to insist the pretzels are on the menu. And like I was like, they're just such a. But anyway, like, she has so many things, amazing things down there, and like even her vegan food, it's like. The vegan flatbread I eat regularly on my own because it's so good.
It's
and
so good.
So it's like if anybody's ever worried about vegan options, I was like, don't worry. I mean, one of my favorite things on the menu is the vegan flatbread. So
absolutely.
So really shout out to Z. Like
100%.
Really
incredible work, and just so wonderful to work with as well. Like I honestly just love my team.
And shout out to you because the drink, like, seriously, like the drink menu up here that you've curated is like, but when people ask me like what's good, I'm like, well, all of it, like, but like I was like, I can't tell you that any of it's bad because Carlos put a lot of effort into, or Squirrelor put a lot of effort into making sure that it is like top-notch options, and that like in so many such a good variety of, like, almost no matter what you pick, if it's the type of drink that you like, you will like it. And
that was really important to me. I was like,
you did great.
And I'm like,
I've never been to a place where every drink on the menu is amazing. And like here, it's like it is. So
Really, really loved it, and also just trying to keep it like pseudo in theme, right?
Yeah,
like having these like beautiful bottles
And
of
meads
beer
and
the mead as well
yeah.
was definitely trying. It's hard, but
and we even have like
No.
we have like colorful. We have colorful drinks that we use as like welcome potions.
Yeah, we have
that
potions.
like so the first drink of the night we go like, hey, these are your welcome potions, and it's like we had to find colorful drinks that look good like a mana potion or a health potion or a stamina potion, and like
but also tastes good, and
also taste,
and have a
exactly.
great ABV to be worth the
Worth it,
money. And
yeah.
I'm really happy with where they are now. They
Right,
just,
right.
Everything just looks and tastes good, so it is great. I'm very proud of it. There's nothing on the menu that I would not personally love and enjoy,
Yeah.
and I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, I'd love to know a little bit more about like everything that's involved with that, because I know that you guys didn't make any money for a decent amount of time, considering how much work went into building this.
I mean, depending on the metric you look at, it's like how have we even really made? But
have you?
Because like so yeah, Alicia and I, we were in a lucky position that we both work art department. We're both like build leads, art directors. So and both designers and artists. And so like I recognize that a lot of people that want to get in the immersive experience world, they aren't going to have the type of experience and skill to do it all themselves. Like they might have to hire a build team to like build stuff. And so Alicia and I were in here basically full time for about a month, for I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, getting it all ready for opening. And then even after that, we were doing more build. And so it's not like our work ended when it opened. And we're still doing, every week we're doing customer service, we're doing ticketing, we're doing all this other stuff. And yeah, but like we want to make sure that we're paying our employees a not just like a fair rate. We want our employees to be happy with how much they're making.
Thriving.
Yeah, and like because happy employees mean that they're gonna love being here and they're gonna work harder and all that other stuff. Like
that'll translate to the guests.
Yeah, and we want to treat it. We don't want to overload our employees with work, and we've taken on a lot ourselves. And but yeah, so if somebody for one, some of the ticket price does go to us because of all of that extra work that we put in every week. And anybody who steps into the tavern will be able to see the amount of work that has gone into it and the amount of and the amount of money that went into it too. Which we've done some calculations, like if somebody had paid us to do this, like what we would have charged them, and it's a lot more. And luckily, we were able to do most of the work ourselves, which doesn't mean, but that means we didn't pay ourselves, so it's not a actual cost, but it does mean it was a lot of labor that went into basically for no money, and it's slowly paying us back over time. But the most of the money does go towards we have performers here every night, and so basically like but once we start with one actor, and then if it's a busy night, we bring in a second actor, and we also, if it's like a slow night, we'll have like the one bartender, and then if it's any busier, then we bring in the two. It kind of depends on, like we've had a couple nights where it was basically only like one bartender, one actor, because it was slow nights and because Squirrelor was out of town. But most of the nights it's
How dare you leave to go to Japan?
I know.
Most nights we're at either 3 actors or 3 staff up here or 4 staff up here. It'll either be Squirrelor and then a bar staff and the character performer, or it'll be a second character performer, which will be 4 people. And I like for a 3-hour experience, like how many 3-hour experiences can you say that there was 4 staff members for 20 people?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And because a huge part of what we wanted is we wanted people to be able to get that. We wanted to have the opportunity for them to have the role play and have that kind of like focused attention, and nobody to feel like there's just not like I'm not getting enough attention or I'm not getting enough staff. Like
Yeah.
we
Exactly.
want if somebody wants to role play with one of the characters for a while, we want that to be
Yep.
an option, and that means we have to have like more staff than a normal restaurant or something
Yep.
might have for that many
Press
people.
A for more dialogue options.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
So yeah, labor's a huge factor into the ticket price, and because, and granted, if it was a larger space and we could have more people, I think the ticket price would be able to go down a little more because if we fill more seats, but it is a lot of labor to pay. Because I'm staffing someone up here, I'm here myself.
Yeah,
we're staffing more in the kitchen, and so it's definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely costly. And so that having that,
And location. Like, you're in
Exactly.
a prime spot here in downtown LA.
Yeah, and like it costs like energy and all that stuff.
the
And so,
overhead,
like,
exactly.
So first draft needs to be making money off this as well, and
Of course.
so it's like the I think that like when we that's the biggest thing, like when we talk about it's a passion project, we didn't get like a ton of money from Netflix or something to like make an experience. Like this was funded by us, and like and we and Alicia and I and our company has decided to we decided to take a much smaller cut to make sure that everybody involved is actually for ourselves. Like we're taking a smaller cut to what we pay ourselves, so we can make sure our actors are getting paid, so we can make sure that it was a top-notch experience, so that we make sure First Draft is making money off of it, so like they're happy with the fact that they're giving us space and they're staffing people, and et cetera, and so and like that's the biggest thing. That's the only part of this that I think even comes off as like a passion project, quote unquote, because like when you say passion project, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, we just did this for funsies, and it's like if anybody who walks in here goes like, whoa, like
No, you can
professionals
see
did
how
this.
much
Like,
passion went
yeah,
into
right,
this.
exactly.
a lot of love.
Sure.
So like the whole food and drink experience from First Draft is like it's absolutely makes it worth the price, and the fact that you're getting character performers. We have like a 10 to 15 minute bardic performance at every seating.
Yeah.
So you're getting like while you sit down with your food, like you're getting a performance that you're listening to as well. And there's escape room style puzzles. It's also a 2.5 hour to 3 hour experience, which like
dude,
it's like that's a long experience, and
A long time.
and like some people have been like, well, why don't you do like a shorter experience so like you could make the ticket price cheaper? And I'm like,
But
anybody
it's
who's
not the
here,
full experience anymore.
Anybody who actually is here for like the length of time, they understand like, oh yeah, you don't get to actually fall in love with the space as much in 90 minutes. Like,
Everyone's still bummed leaving, no matter how long it is. Like
we have
even
to
being here
push
3 hours, it's like no.
we have to push people out the door every time, like lovingly. We're like,
course.
oh, we love you guys, but we need to go home. It's like
because they want to stay, they want to hang out with us, they want to talk to
It's
us
such a
more.
great place to just like hang out and like, no, I don't want to leave yet.
Yeah.
and you just wouldn't get that kind of warm atmosphere and like get to know people and really get the kind of deep socialization and really falling in love with the space as much if it was a 90-minute experience. And that was the kind of, more than anything, the vibe and the atmosphere was what we were trying to bring from Squirrel Tavern 1.0 and 2.0 to this version.
Yeah.
Because that was really like, obviously how cool it looks and all of the things that we do, all those are cool and those are part of the experience. But really like making people feel warm and welcome and like they can like they're at home here is like a huge part of the experience that we wanted to bring over. And like it's much harder to do that in a 90-minute time frame than it is what
I also
we have.
feel like a lot of the places that I've gone to that has like a 90-minute time limit does not include, hey, I got dressed up for this experience.
Yeah.
And also it's just like, hey, you get drinks and food and then we're going to kick you out. Where this, like, there are puzzles involved. You're expected to dress up. You don't have to dress up, but it helps.
Yeah, and like
it makes the experience better.
considering 3 courses and considering how much time that takes to first get the orders in and then get the food up here and cleared in 3 courses and and 2 high quality beverages.
And inserting plot
Exactly.
into the
And
storyline.
to have that time, because you need to sit and you need to eat.
Right.
And then in between that eating, then you get to go and explore and like do things. So it needs the time. And I do love what you said about us basically trying to inject and recreate Squirrelor's Tavern and what that means. This isn't some generic tavern.
Yeah.
It's a very specific
Labor of love.
exactly. It's a very specific atmosphere that we're trying to recreate for people that we've been doing ourselves and creating and growing and learning and adding new things over years. It's been like 6 years now, I think, of Squirrel's Tavern.
Yeah.
In Insanity.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're transitioning from season 1 of Squirrel's Tavern at first draft, and now you're going into season 2. What are some changes that people are going to expect, even if they've gone to the first season?
Yeah, okay. Non-spoiler things is so it's going to be a whole.
No spoilies.
It's going to be a continuation of the storyline, so the vision that I have that we're doing for it is that it's going to be season 2 will be accessible for anybody who is a return guest, and so. There is a thing that you get if you complete the first season.
Dang it, I never did it.
So then if you come back and you show what you got for completing season 1, then at that point, basically you'll be getting a key or a clue. Essentially you will be getting a key that will lead you and unlock to the first part of season 2. And every part of season 2 will essentially be behind some sort of lock or secret. So the only way to get to season 2 is if you've already done season 1.
Love it.
And so season 1 will still completely be here. All the regular season 1 storyline and puzzles will still be here, still be accessible for people. But really the whole point of season 2 is to add the replayability for people that have already done it and want to come back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
This is my problem with just role playing the whole time, is I never got through any of the puzzles in season 1.
Yeah.
Still got time.
I know, I still got time.
Yeah.
We have a lot of repeat members though already. Like
We
Yeah.
have lots of them.
and they're just like, oh, we want to come back again.
It's a great place to
and
be.
so like, oh, how do we expand that replayability and make things fresh?
Oh, and it's like already even before adding season 2 stuff, like I know that personally, if I was a repeat guest, like I would want to do the puzzles one time. I would want to I would do the puzzles probably the first time. The second time I would probably socialize. And then the third time I would realize that, oh wait, it'd be really fun to play a board game in here while I'm eating. And so but your first or second time, even you're like, I don't want to spend the whole time playing a board game. But the third time, I don't know, that's when I would probably pick up Red Dragon Inn, and I'd probably get my friends to play Red Dragon Inn and do a drinking game with Red Dragon Inn in here.
I would love to do a Red Dragon Inn night here.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Such a fun game.
So with season 2, it's basically especially for the people who are, because since it is such a high ticket price, some people are only kind of looking to do it if they get to solve the puzzles and do the socialization all in one night, and they're not looking to do multiple nights back to back or anything. And so season 2 is basically, it's gonna have it's basically anybody who's done season 1, it'll be about the same length, maybe a little longer. New secret things to find and discover, new puzzles to solve. And there's kind of a cool exclusivity to you only have access to season 2 if you've done season 1. And so it really rewards people that have been. And for anybody who hasn't done season 1 already, that's still available to you, and you can come and do season 1
of course,
at any point, and then and then you feel free to come back for season 2 and then do season 2 at that point. So we're really excited about it. We've got a lot of cool secret ideas and stuff, and already updating some of the things, and
and injecting some squirrel lore as
Squirrel
well.
lore.
Yeah.
Squirrelor's handbook. So to close out this episode, I would love to hear what a 4.0 would look like if you had all the time and money in the world.
Amazing. All right, great. So do you have another hour? So
I mean, technically, yes, but not all of us.
4.0 for me will be the full brick and mortar. Like I want Squirrel's Tavern to be an immersive experience that the doors are open, that the doors are open, that it has normal, pub straunt hours. And I want a place that captures and gives that sense of warmth, coziness, and that just fantastical like vibrancy that that we all know and crave when it comes to a fantasy tavern, and why that's such an attractive thing for people. So I want that to be this incredible restaurant that is kind of like a mix between like Rainforest Cafe meets Magic Castle.
Oh no, the animatronics.
just a big squirrel in the corner.
Welcome to Squirrelor's Tavern.
Just this kind of perpetual atmosphere that is like magical, and it's and that there are secrets, that there is a speakeasy inside of this tavern that is really, really hard to get into.
Listeners know I love a good speakeasy.
Yeah, like Scoin will be a new thing, and by that time Scoin will be metal. You know what I mean? Like, and you will get a pouch. There will be an entryway with a host, basically like warning you about like what you're about to get into. And
warning, I'm scared.
Exactly. Just being like, hey, just this is what you're about to walk into. And prepping
we
you.
had talked about because we've had this conversation so many different times over the years of like coming up with different ideas of like what it would look like if it was actually a brick and mortar. But like building out essentially like when you walk through the front door, we build out a small room that like is the entryway with like coat racks and stuff like that. And like so if you do want to borrow a loner costume to throw on something, or like I take off my jacket and put it up and I put on like a. And then then you walk through. Then the host. That's where the host tells you everything, gets you ready for experience, and then you walk through the door, and boom, now you're in the tavern. And I think we have like lots of ideas. I know that like there's a magical draw to like like having like puzzles and secrets to find. It becomes a lot harder if it's like not a reset experience that's like it's 2 to 3 hours, but like there's we have lots of ideas on how to do it. Like one thing that I've said before is like essentially it could be a thing that somebody can unlock from the bartender essentially, or like hey, like I'd like to or especially if somebody's been there before but they're bringing new people and like, hey, we want to do the experience, and it's like, okay, cool. It basically is like unlocking a little escape room, and so you pay like maybe it's like $25 and the bartender gives you a key, and then that key leads you to a clue that leads you to another clue, leads you to a puzzle, and like
it's like on the receipt of the first one that you like first time you went to. And just like passcode is.
And so then like so you each of the puzzles would be like kind of locked in place, and so like there wouldn't be a lot of like quote unquote resetting, and so those puzzles are always there, but like you only can access them if you're trying to do the quote unquote experience. And but
you can just come to the restaurant for the atmosphere, for the live music, which will be there every night. I want live performing like all the time, a fireplace for sure. And just this gorgeous fantasy tavern beer garden style energy and warmth and vibe, and again, like, and the beautiful thing that I love about the Magic Castle too is that there's just these like perpetual little kind of corners of magic and things that can be interacted with and that are just always there for you, and have that, but then like bi-weekly or monthly having like a story, like having like a ticketed RP night, kind of like what we do in here, and then that's what you get. You really dress up. People come in character, and it's like a LARP. Like there will be a story. There will be.
I mean, it's kind of like what
happening.
I think like for a 4.0 or for a brick and mortar, we could even learn a lot from places like the Obscure.
Yeah.
And I recently met the owner of the Obscure, and like he and I chatted like a lot and about just, like his experience and stuff like that. And like they have themed scheduled nights where it's like you do the story and things like that, and then they have other nights that are open to members, and if you've basically like you become a member if you like buy a bottle. So it's like it's like you do the experience, you buy like one bottle, it's not even that expensive.
Lower
for a
barrier
bottle.
to entry for sure.
Oh yeah, super low barrier. I mean their regular experience isn't like cheap, but
it's
like
not cheap by any means, no.
but like once you do the experience, then you become a member. Then you on their off nights you can just come anytime.
Oh,
and so,
that's
like,
cool.
So it's and so then at that point, like for maybe Fridays and Saturdays, or when it's like the experience, or like maybe one day a week, there's the quote unquote full tavern experience with like a lot of stuff that's more expensive. But then once you've done the experience, or like you've become a member, or somehow like then you get access to all the off nights. But to be honest, like a lot of also what Tavern 4.0 will look like will depend on the space that we find and the means that we have at the moment.
Real estate.
Because
So venue oriented.
yeah, I mean,
Totally.
and also like we will. What I can confidently say is that we will be able to take whatever resources we have with the venue, and what like resources we have monetarily, and the talent that we have between ourselves, and we will make something like really cool and unique. That like people will be incredibly memorable to anybody who comes to it. Like that I can confidently say, because like it's like even like saying like, oh, there'll be live music every night. Like for some people, that people would hear that and go like, how would you do that? Like like that's like an expensive ticket, right? That's an expensive thing to offer every night. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, but like if that's the dream and the atmosphere that we're wanting, which that's what we offer every night at the tavern currently, is like there is some sort of live music and performance every night of the experience. At 4.0, like maybe that means that some nights me and Carlos are getting up there singing, or like maybe it's some of the live music is like occasionally Squirrelor goes up and does a song, or like some of our other staff members are going up and doing
You doing
music
stand up
and, like,
now?
Or guests, or we have an open mic, like guests
like
can come
an
up
open
and
night
do
mic
whatever they
thing,
want.
like at so that kind of stuff is like we can get infinitely creative depending on like what kind of resources we have available to us at the time.
Of course.
And so like a lot of these are like, these are our dreams, and these are like what we would really like it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it will end up being, we're going to be adaptable to what we have at the time. And but we do know that we want it to be more accessible in general.
Yep.
To like one, an easier barrier to entry. To be open more often, so people can just drop in with a reservation or not. Like,
of course, just come in, do some work, grab a bite or a drink, just enjoy the atmosphere, and that's it.
And then we do want like to still transfer that same kind of like atmosphere and warmth and welcomingness that we've been talking about through all of the iterations. We want that to transfer over
100%.
And we also like the cool secrets in the role play and like all of that stuff. So it's like figuring out the best way to make that be a thing that's open like all the time.
Yeah. And just to highlight something that you said, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that with the resources and time, that it's gonna be so amazing. Like, it's just gonna be one of the greatest like taverns ever, because I just don't think anybody cares as much as we do. You know what I mean? Like, I literally quit like my job and changed careers because I'm like, this needs to happen. And I know that a lot of people and I've seen around, like, in LA and like kind of these bars like centered or like kind of themed ish for that, and are so I don't know, I feel like below below the standard that what I want. That I know that if I had the real estate or the place, that I just would not stop making it better. I would not stop getting that atmosphere to be perfect. And there's just an attention to detail that we have, and we're very picky and specific, and being like, oh, it's gonna bug us until it's perfect. And so I'm like, I know that when we get to that place, that it's going to be, it's just going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think it's going to be one of the greatest bars in the world.
I felt.
I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I felt so lucky to see both 2.0 and 3.0, and I can't wait to see season 2. And I know that both of you will create something amazing in the future, and I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you also for this. This is cool. I just kind of realized that this has been so therapeutic.
Aww.
I just don't. It's like the debrief that I don't think we've like actually done.
Not to this extent.
Yeah. And it's so in depth, and it's just so wonderful to go back through our story and like why and how we're here right now.
Yeah.
And
tearing up a little bit. Sorry.
and it's because we're both really damn busy.
Yeah. No.
We're both really, really damn busy and doing this.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to like stop and actually unpeel
some of the magic that we've
craziness
done
that
here.
that it still seems surreal.
You say crazy, I say magic.
Yeah. Magic is crazy.
Why not both?
Yeah. It is definitely magical, and it's just it's wonderful. It's just kind of it's a dream come true, and it still feels like a dream. But even though we're like literally sitting in it right now,
we're sitting in the tavern in our street clothes, which is a rare thing.
I think that like with 4.0, it's unfortunately for us, we set such a high bar with 3.0 that like I'm really excited to see 4.0 because I know we're gonna push ourselves hard, and I do think that like it's hard for me to say that we care more than everybody else, or like we want it more than everybody else, because like we want it really bad and we care a lot. There might be somebody out there who cares or wants, but I would think that the thing that we definitely do better is we are uniquely qualified to do this kind of thing and collaborate on this kind of thing more than basically anybody else out there that does care as much as we do, especially because like, sure, you might be able to find a distillery or a distiller or a brewer, and then you might be able to find like, or like a beer expert, and then you might be able to find a designer, but are they really going to care about making a space like this as much as we do? Like,
also, not a lot of people know as many LARPers as y'all do.
Yeah, right. And so it's like, so it's like I like, with like the kind of like event experience and LARP experience and design experience that I have mixed with like your passion for beer and for running a bar and for this specific tavern experience, like.
It's a very unique combination.
Right. That's what really makes us like unique together, and like
100%.
So I have no doubt in my mind what 4.0 when it happens will be even.
So if anyone listening, hey, make it happen.
Yeah.
Someone make it happen.
Because we know like our standard now of like what we will accept.
Yeah.
Like our bar is just we are gonna. Yeah. I'm not gonna settle. At all.
And I think anybody who comes to this experience,
will realize
Squirrel Tavern experience, will see what we've done here and will back us up of like, like they can see how much we care and how much we put into this, and they are all excited to see what happens in the future of Squirrel Tavern.
Because at the end of the night, like with letting people know like the story and the genesis of Squirrel Tavern, you something happens, like you see it on their face that this isn't some strange money grab, like from some, sponsor that's just like a bunch of money, make a fantasy tavern. It's
cheer
in right
up
now.
every
Against
time.
That, please, somebody give me a lot of money to make them a tavern. Please.
Yeah, we like money, but I do feel like each time that I've come to the tavern and gotten that bit about the story at the end of each night, I feel the amount of passion and dedication that went into this, and I cannot wait to see what else y'all do.
Yeah, and letting people know that they're a part of this story now, that they're helping.
Yeah, I mean, they can
make
sign their
this
names in
dream
the
come
guest
true.
book too.
Exactly, and supporting us and supporting the stream, and it's not just some random goofy name, and there's a different Squirrelor every night. It's just an actor, and I'm just like, no, you're a part of this story that we've talked about this whole time.
Yeah.
You're part of this story and this passion project, and you are supporting some people who are trying to spread this love and warmth and coziness and belonging in this place that we all crave, and with this atmosphere that we all want and need. And I see just tavern things just popping up, and especially in video games now, that there's this crave, there's this want for that. There's a German word that I always think of when I try to describe what I'm the coziness, and it's Gemütlichkeit, and it's a German word that literally means a sense of coziness, but more. And it's a toast as well. There's a German song like Ein Prosit, and they say Gemütlichkeit, and it's that sense of warmth that you get from drinking with friends and being together, and that word is kind of just exactly what I'm chasing and trying to create and give and share with people, and it's just truly special. But oh man,
I'd love for you to both promote whatever you would like right now.
Squirrel Tavern is a cool little spot.
Make sure to go online to make your reservations.
yes, please. And honestly, we have a minimum of ticket sales that we need for
To run
a seating. So
if we don't meet the minimum ticket sales, we have to cancel a seating, which is a bummer for us and a bummer for everybody involved.
Of course,
so I would say, don't wait to get your tickets at the last second. That is a huge thing. Is if you get your tickets day of or the day before, sometimes that night is going to get canceled because you waited, which is a bummer for the people who we have gotten emails that's hey, we were going to come tonight. Is it not happening? And it's no, we had to cancel. Sorry.
you need to get those tickets early.
We can't plan to be open and then nobody show up. That's just not
can't afford the staffing to show up, and
with how small of a business this is. We can't afford to plan to be open and then nobody be here. But
so definitely squirrelstavernexperience.com. Go there for schedule for tickets.
Will be in the episode description.
Beautiful.
Or any of our socials, Squirrel Tavern Experience or Squirrel Tavern on Instagram or Squirrel Tavern on TikTok, any of those. I think for me personally, it's just if you or anybody you know is looking for a cool immersive event or space, and you want people that can make it happen, Alicia and I's company is called Polar Palace Productions. You can reach out to me on any of my socials, Taylor Frost or Frost T, so FROSTTEA, on Instagram, and our email is on our Squirrel Tavern website. If you reach out to any of our socials, then we're happy to try to figure out, we're pretty flexible and we can make an experience that basically fits whatever you're looking to make and the kind of budget that you're looking for.
Lots of different genres. Y'all got it.
I've done. When people ask me what budgets am I used to working for, I'm that's a complicated question because I've done budgets anywhere from $5,000 to $500,000. So and I just like making cool stuff. So.
And if you like beer, and come to First Draft. First Draft Taproom and Kitchen in DTLA.
You can test a bunch of stuff.
So many things. I handpick every single drink we have. It's a self-pour taproom, extremely unique experience that you pay for literally how much you pour. You just go, you self-serve your beer flight, basically. And if you're a big beer nerd, reach out. Let's talk over some beers. At Squirrelor is me everywhere. So come stop by and say hi if you're not, even if not coming to the tavern.
Yeah. Thank you so much for telling your full story. Like I definitely learned a lot that I didn't get to hear before, and I knew a lot of it, but this is really in depth, and I hope that a lot of other people appreciate how much love and care went into making this tavern, and they'll want to come.
Yeah. And if anybody listens to this entire thing, good.
You're crazy.
Thank you. You're great. Good for you. I really appreciate. Shout out to you.
It's a trial. I'm like, because we could talk about ourselves all day.
Yeah, especially if you just walk up. It's like, tell me your story.
Yeah. So it was surprisingly succinct for us, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, really edited.
Until next time.
Whenever making eye contact with a squirrel, don't be the first to break.
Check out our website, immersivexps.com, to join our free Ko-fi, which will have visuals and additional content of the immersive experiences discussed in each episode. If you are an immersive experience artist or creator, no matter how small, consider contacting us so you can take part on a future podcast. This podcast is recorded and produced by SoCal Podcast Studio in Orange County. Thanks for listening.
You start with until next time. I'll do a slightly ominous thing.
Beautiful. All right. And until next time.
Don't walk through the forest barefoot. They'll know.
They will.
No, I'll do. Okay. Until next time.
Never drink standing on your left foot. Or else. I had to say or else. Yeah. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Until next time.
Make sure not to eat too many pumpkin seeds this October season. Until next time.
Whenever making eye contact with a squirrel, don't be the first to break.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a great one. That was a great one.
I think that's keep that one. That's the one we keep.
Good.
Yeah, more.
Got another one?
Yeah.
Until next time.
Any carpenters out there?
You're like, here we go. Until next time.
Any carpenters out there? Make sure not to clip your nails before your next wood project. Until next time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hit me.
Until next time.
Always.
I got another one. Go ahead.
It was gonna have to do with a soft kiss, and I don't know what I was.
I've already done one with a soft kiss.
soft kiss?
Nice.
What I wrote down. It's receiving a kiss on the cheek from your reflection is good luck.
Oh, nice! I love that. Here, we'll do the last one for you. Until next time.
Make sure you sharpen all your swords this spooky season. That's what I was gonna say. One more time.